Hello and welcome this Friday afternoon. I am Caitlin Solomon, CSI's Marketing and Membership Manager, and I'm going to be presenting today's webinar on staying social at Construct. And along with me today, we have Joy Davis, whom I'm sure you all know, CSI's Communications, Community, and Web Director. Joy, you have way too many titles as of now. And we're going to be discussing ways to use social media at Construct and some of the events that are taking place this year that might be new, that might be exciting, or that are specifically tailored to you, our CSI community. So Joy, if you're ready, we're going to get started.
Of course I'm ready.
And for those following along online, which hopefully you all are, Joy will be helping me live tweet today, so be sure to use the hashtag #Construct. Which is going to be a theme reoccurring in this webinar if you haven't done a lot of pre-show buzz already. The reason we get to do this webinar today is because of our wonderful sponsor, so I want to be sure to thank Consensus Docs. If you're going to be in Baltimore, they will be at booth 1052, so be sure to stop by and say hello. If for some reason you haven't connected with us online, you should. And be sure to do so. Both CSI and the show have Twitter and Facebook accounts. There's links right there. If you follow one of us, you can probably find links to the other one. That might be easy to find online. And again, be sure to always use the hashtag Construct. Now, for those of you who might not be aware, just a little recap here. A hashtag is a way of organizing social media conversations. So by including it, you're going to make it possible for others to search Facebook or Twitter for your comments so they can participate in this topic with you. Now that we have all the fundamentals underway, Joy and I are going to be explaining just a few easy ways to get involved in social media while at the show, which is not only going to enhance your online connections, it's also going to enhance your show experience. So we definitely recommend everybody, whether you're new, whether you're experienced, or if you just want to try out what the social media thing is, Construct is a great place to start. So how do you get involved? You participate. You post photos, you join tweet chats, you tweet from education sessions, you comment on blogs. Again, if you're not familiar, CSI has a very active social media and online community that I'm sure they'd love to make you participate. Joy and I are slightly obsessed with it, if you haven't been able to tell as of yet, especially when it comes to Twitter. So there are a lot of different ways for you to participate. And aside from pre-show buzz, the easiest way to get involved is right in the exhibit hall itself. So what should you do? You should join the conversation. The first thing, again, be sure you know what discussions to follow with a hashtag. We are using hashtag Construct. How many times have I said that now, Joy? I think 5, 10, and we're only
yet not enough. Yes, yet not enough.
And it's also at the bottom of every slide of this presentation. So again, we want to know what you're saying. We want to know what you think about the show, if you have questions. And the way Joy and I are going to be monitoring this at the show is using that hashtag. So if you don't use the hashtag, we might not be following you and we might not see your comment in time. So it's very important that you join a specific discussion using a specific hashtag. Another way to drive the conversation is direct your audience to relative content. You all have followers. The whole idea of the social media thing is to develop a dialogue and a community and a conversation, and it's not just shouting at someone. So if you have followers back in your firm or just people that follow you because you're a thought leader in the industry, you want to make sure that you're giving them content they can use, whether it's notes from an education session or pictures from a product you just saw, or hey, go visit booth X, Y, and Z because you can learn a lot by a great rep there. Make sure your audience knows what you know and share what you know, share highlights, share questions, share anything interesting that helps those both at the show and those that couldn't make it. And the best thing you can do while you're at Construct is participate in events. We have a lot of what we call in real life or IRL events to get the social media together. Some of us is the only time we see each other the entire year, so be sure to stay tuned, watch our online channels, or watching the pre-show promotions we've given for those in-person events because it's really fun to turn a social connection into an in-person connection. Now, the first tool we're going to be looking at is Twitter. Again, I'm slightly biased, but this might be my favorite one to use. And for those of you who aren't as familiar with Twitter and think, how in the world can I use this at a trade show? Lots of ways. The best way is probably to do education session notes. If you guys are attending a class, I like to say Twitter is the new note-taking. I believe, Joy, how many presentations do you start now with "get out your phone," I think is your catchphrase?
All of them. Every single one.
And again, it goes back to not only is it a great way to share what you know for your followers, but it's also a great way to keep track of what you learn. And it's easy, it's quick, it's an online document. You can go back and find it. And it's also another great way to give speakers constructive feedback. I know Joy and I are both presenting this year, and I know I would love it if everyone tweets notes for my specific session. If you're going on a technical tour, share what you know. There's amazing pictures, there's things coming from the leaders. Tour and speech as they go along, and not everyone can go because those sell out really, really quickly. So it goes back to giving your audience relevant content and taking pictures or learning notes or what you haven't seen before, especially if this is your first time in Baltimore. Exhibit hall is always fun. Even if you're presenting, we definitely invite you to get connected online. Post what you're talking about, what booth you're at, pictures. This is a very interactive medium. And like I said, pictures and highlights are always fun, especially if you can get a picture of Joy, since she's normally the one behind the camera. And again, we've included always use #construct. If you haven't figured out by now, it's a very important way of communicating with us on Twitter. If you don't believe in the power of Twitter, these stats should convert you. Last year, our online community went insane in the best way possible. The show reached an average of 100,000 accounts every day and made over 1 million impressions per day. The graphic there is from our peak day, which on Thursday, which reached over 2 million impressions. And that was without reliable Wi-Fi. So again, a lot of people are talking about it and you want to get involved with this conversation. If you haven't maybe tweeted for your company, or if you are an exhibitor, Construct's tweets reach outside of just the exhibit hall. We had a lot of people that couldn't attend that were following and that wanted to know more about products or sessions. So again, it's not only connecting with the people there, it's also connecting with those back home. So it's very important to get involved, and it's very easy as a medium to get associated with and start learning. And we have a lot of really active tweeps, as we call them, that I'm sure would love to show you how to do it if you've never been online, or if you're new to Twitter, or if you're just not sure what all the hype is about. Now, Joy, do you want to go over using Twitter in education sessions?
Oh, you know I love that topic.
It's your favorite.
It is, and it's my favorite because CSI people don't tend to tweet boring information or things people don't want to hear. And you've got a couple examples up here. One of my favorites is at D. Stutzman here, David Stutzman. He will often tweet continually during a session. So he's sharing his notes with all of his followers, which happen to be his clients. But then he usually takes those notes and puts them together in Storify and shares them with his colleagues back home, the people he works with. This is his strategy for getting as much as possible out of an education session. It can also be interesting to tweet during an education session because you never know who at home is listening. It has happened to me that I'll be tweeting about a session and someone at home will start talking, and suddenly I'm participating in 2 conversations on the topic, not one. So the fact that I have my phone out does not mean that I am bored. It may mean that I'm actually taking your education session further, Mr. Speaker. Anything else I should point out, Caitlin?
No, just going off of what Joyce said, again, I have, on a personal level, every single education event, seminar, webinar that I attend, I make sure I tweet alongside of it. And it's like Joyce said, it's those supplemental conversations that take place. It's the person who comments on your comment, hey, have you thought about it this way? And then you have a new connection or a new conversations that started. And the other great thing about CSI's online community is the fact that these actually started first organically. I believe a couple years ago at the academies, we just saw people randomly started tweeting, and it got a whole conversation going nationwide from people that were attending and weren't attending. And that's when Joy and I really wanted to start making sure people participated online during CSI's events, because it just takes that learning experience to the next level. So if you think we're crazy, if you think it's rude, it's not. The majority of the speakers there will understand and appreciate if you have maybe a tablet out or a small laptop or even your phone, because it's taking their message to a larger audience. And again, it goes back to, if you want to be a thought leader, if you're building your personal brand, this is providing relevant content to your audience, which is going to give you more credibility in your online community. So tweet from all.
Caitlin, I do have one more piece of advice.
Go for it.
If you are a speaker, it is very tempting to walk in and tell people not to get out their phones. In fact, we've done that for years. And I think that's a bad idea. What I usually tell people is, yes, please get out your phone. Here is the hashtag. I put it on every slide. Here is the hashtag for the conversation I hope you're going to have, and I will look at it after this presentation. If you have to take a phone call during this presentation, don't start talking until you're out the door. I am willing to acknowledge that people have work. They have real lives that they have to attend to, possibly while I'm speaking. So by all means, and give your audience a chance to do what they have to do and tell them what the rules are from the start, including go ahead and tweet during the session. You got to take a phone call. Don't start talking till you're in the hallway.
And like Joy mentioned, but I just want to reiterate it here for a second, if you are tweeting from a Construct session, the hashtag to remember is, of course, hashtag Construct, and then you use whatever their session number is. So for example, I'm going to tell all of the people in my presentation to use hashtag Construct, hashtag TO2. This is also helpful for me personally because I will be storifying all the education events, and I can't read your notes if I don't know what to look for. So again, if you're confused about the hashtag, most of the speakers will hopefully have them on their slides, but another, again, a great way to go for it is just Construct and then hashtag the session number. And this is another example that Joy gave to me when I first started, and I love it, so I'm going to make her do it again. But it's basically the ingredients for a perfect tweet and what a tweet really needs to contain in order to make it relevant to your audience. So Joy, would you like to give your fabulous example we have posted on the slide there?
I will, because what most people don't realize is this really happened. I was in the exhibit hall and I looked at Twitter, and sure enough, someone had tweeted, pizza, so hungry, so good. And I immediately hated that person, Caitlin, because I was in fact hungry and in the exhibit hall, and I was not getting pizza anytime soon. If only they had tweeted hungry at Construct and given me directions to pizza from the exhibit hall, I would have been much happier. And this goes straight to the point about everything you post during any event anywhere, but most especially Construct. What you're posting is not about you, it's about how it's going to affect or help the people who are going to read it. So every post should be something somebody else can in some way use, even if it's just directions to the best free coffee in the exhibit hall.
Which is very important, and your audience will love you for that tweet. And like Joy mentioned, the ingredients to the perfect tweet, so you can avoid Joy rushing you if you give a bad tweet when she's hungry, because staff always has to stagger when we get lunch, is to really think about, is it useful for others? Make sure you include a link. That's very important, especially if you're saying learn more or if there's more information. 140 characters isn't that much, so links are important. And yet again, include the right hashtag so it can be found. Speaking of hashtags, if you haven't noticed yet on this presentation, they're important. Don't forget to use them on Twitter, and remember that Facebook now uses hashtag as well. Again, if you're new to social media, hashtag is a way to categorize your post, and it makes it easy to search topics. CSI plans to archive all social activity for the week. That is my job. Please help me make it easier, and remember to use hashtags for your tweets and Facebook posts. There are a lot of new events this year, so check any signage to see which hashtags correspond to a specific event, but we have listed a few of the main ones for you, and those are, of course, Construct everywhere. Education, again, Construct in your education session number. If it's a specific CSI event, it might be specific to the CSI annual convention, which is held in conjunction with Construct. We're going to use our normal CSI social. For those of you that are coming on Friday to the annual meeting, hashtag AMMF, which stands for Annual Meeting Members Forum, which was actually, again, a hashtag that started organically a few years ago, and we've just stuck with it because that's now what everybody knows, the glory of hashtags. And a big event that we're hoping everyone publicizes that we'll talk a little bit more at the end of this presentation is CSI Night Out, which is happening on Thursday. And we definitely want feedback and pictures from that event, so use the hashtag CSI Night Out. But again, Stacy Vale has been great. Joy, Dean and I have been making sure the right hashtag is in every sign and promotional avenue there. So if you're unsure of what to put, the first one is probably construct, but there's normally will be a sign somewhere in the Baltimore Convention Center that will correspond with your specific event. Facebook. Hanley Wood with Construct Show does a great job on Facebook, and you can too. So definitely not only follow them and CSI, but announce you're going on your own page. This is going to be a fun place post-show that you can post photos, whether or not it's of a specific event, your friends, or again, if you're going as your company, this is a great way to put albums of what happened at your booth, such as if you had a product launch or a new demonstration. I believe there is an event that you can RSVP to if you want to go ahead and connect with other people who are attending, make your social strategy of who to visit or what booths to see, or even what exhibitors are going to be there. A lot of them have already been active on Facebook, so it's a great way to plot out who's going and who might not be going this year. And as always, if you are a fan of using hashtags on Facebook, it's optional, but you can do it. Use Construct if you're doing anything specific about the post. Now, Joy, you use Facebook a little bit more than me. Do you have anything to add on how they can really use this medium at the show?
Well, Facebook's interesting. A lot of us tend to think of it as personal, and it can be, but you may have connected yourself to some of your customers and your colleagues here. And Facebook is a great way to share videos. Now, in our exhibit hall, we will have people doing demonstrations explaining how things work. So it's a great time to take a short video on your phone and then post it for some of those folks back home to be able to see, or just for yourself to be able to find it. You can also take a ton of photos and organize them in albums on Facebook, which can be very useful if you have to flip back through things when you get home. If you're taking pictures and you got to get back to the office and then you want to show someone something you saw, Facebook may be a good strategy for you.
Right, thanks. And after Facebook, there's also LinkedIn. CSI has a very active LinkedIn community. If you haven't joined us yet, simply search Construction Specifications Institute at linkedin.com. And this is where you can do almost everything pre-show, at show, and post-show. And it's really getting into those in-depth discussions. So aside from just simply announcing that you're attending on your profile, we really encourage you to participate in discussions about the show. Whether or not you start a discussion pre-show, or if you can't attend the show, you might want to see if someone can find out specific information for you. And post-show, it's a place to continue the conversation. Was there an education session that really spoke to you? Did you have some questions in the exhibit hall that you want answered? So you can not only connect with individuals or speakers or connections, you can also and many times connect with those companies as well. And we like to say you can use LinkedIn as a new Rolodex. Really support those in-person connections and add connections to your network. Kind of the opposite, if you know someone on Twitter, you want to try to meet them in person. When you meet someone in person at the show, be sure to look for them online. And LinkedIn is probably the one that most professionals are going to have right off the bat. So really be sure that you follow up. Whether or not it's with a business card or a conversation, you can easily add that and look them up on LinkedIn and add them as a connection immediately. And again, LinkedIn is just a great way to support those in-person connections and continue those conversations that you had, whether it's in a lounge or at an event or in the education hall or exhibit hall, excuse me. Really use LinkedIn to have more in-depth conversations and connect with people on a level that you might not be able to do in a Facebook post or 140-character tweet. Now, Joy,
I have something to say about LinkedIn. Do you mind?
I do not mind at all.
Well, the thing that most people don't realize is LinkedIn is something that an individual maintains themselves. You know, I update my LinkedIn account, not someone else. And that means when I change jobs, I update it. Now, if you've connected to me on LinkedIn, that means that when I make a change in whatever I'm doing, you'll automatically have access to the new contact information. A lot of us in construction are moving around from job to job right now. There's tremendous amount of change in our part of the field. So making an immediate connection with someone through LinkedIn while you're on the floor is a good idea, because it's a way of putting that card in your Rolodex. But understand this. The other person is responsible for keeping the card up to date, not you. Your phone number is not going to go bad. Make sense, Caitlin?
No, that's a great point to add. And another reason why it's also easy to keep in touch with LinkedIn, because you might not have their new email address when they switch jobs, but you can always visit their profile and continue to get their information. And Joy, I'm going to keep you in the hot seat while we move on to how they can use Flickr.
Oh, you know I love Flickr.
That's why I'm letting you talk about it.
I don't love all of social media, but I do love Flickr. And the reason I love Flickr is at Construct, I take a lot of photos with an actual old-fashioned camera. Some of you may remember when we didn't use our phones to take pictures for things. And what I like to do is upload those photos at high resolution so they can be printed in anything, and then I leave them available to all of our CSI members. And you can do that too. You can upload photos and you have them available to the people who you are friends with, your colleagues, the marketing department back home, whoever, and they can download your photos at a full resolution. That is really handy if you're trying to record things. Flickr is also handy because once you put together some sort of an album, you can turn it on in the background at an event and use it as your own continuous flow of photos running across the back, a montage, because it'll just keep flipping through them. There's a setup for slideshow on Flickr. So it's a wonderful tool, especially if you're taking high resolution photos or really good photos or things that you just need to share with someone else. Make sense, Kayla?
It does. And like you can see the link there, CSI Construction does have a Flickr account. I was having fun with some throwback Thursday photos and was exploring it yesterday and realized that without knowing it, I have a picture with Charles Hendricks at my first ever Construct in Chicago. Did not remember him, so now I feel bad when I introduce myself to him in Phoenix. But it's another way to relive those memories, especially when Joy posts the photos that CSI takes from the show because they're so pretty. But again, share what you know, share the photos, and if it's not on Facebook, please put it on Flickr just because it's a really great outlet. And it's great, like Joy said, just to see the slideshows and relive these memories as you're waiting for the next Construct in St. Louis. So you've met great people, you've interacted with informative booths in the exhibit hall, you've gained all this technical knowledge from these various educational opportunities, and then you leave Baltimore. So what do you do with it? Well, we want you to share it, and hopefully you do as well. So after Baltimore, CSI challenges all members to keep the conversation going. This can take place in a variety of forms. So write blog posts about the sessions you attended, the technical tour, or just your overall experiences at the show. Start LinkedIn discussions. Is there issues or topics that were brought up on the floor or in the member lounge or during presentations? Do you want to go deeper into something a speaker brought up that really struck you as interesting or the way the industry is going? As Joy and I have talked about, please share your photos online. We'd love to see them, and I'm sure other people would too, whether or not it's on Facebook or Flickr. And then using SlideShare. Now, for those of you who might not understand SlideShare, we are going to go on this next slide and some post-show tools that aren't necessarily mainstream social media tools such as Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn. Now, Joy already talked about Flickr, and she mentioned Storify briefly as something David Stutzman does, which I do as well. And for those of you who aren't sure, Storify is a great way to really combine all of the things that went online during various social media platforms at the time. It is a website where you can collect media from across the web, and you can create an article with it. So if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see that I typically storify any tweet chat or education event that I went to. You can also see all of my storified events from last year's Construct to get an idea of what I'll be doing this year at the show. But it's compiling all this information into one place to tell a story, hence its name. Now, SlideShare is another great tool, and it's not just for you all who will be speaking or presenting to share those public presentations. What you might not know is you can actually create a short, highly visual deck about maybe new product launches or booth highlights. So this is something, if you're an exhibitor, you might want to look out for. You can share this deck on your social media profiles for those who either attend the show or want to follow up if they met you or if they didn't get to go but want to know what happened. So Joy, those are my 3 favorite post-show tools. Do you have any others that you think they should know about?
No, those are my favorites.
We're too alike now. I've worked with Joy for too long.
sure it's all my fault.
So now that we've taught you how to talk about Construct, let's dive into the event itself. Construct 2014 is going to be different from its predecessors. We're really excited about it because we think this is why there's been great pre-show buzz and there's a lot for you to talk about online while you're at the show. So we're going to give you some information into some of the changes. A big change is that the exhibit hall is going to be 2 days this year. It will be open on Wednesday and Thursday, September 10th through 11th, with extended hours. So expect to still see the learning pavilions along the booth, but then also expect the introduction of a new idea, which is a white paper education experience. And this means attendees will read a white paper, visit the exhibitors, and then take a quiz to earn CEUs. These are being called show floor discussion accreditations. There are 2 different documents that are currently posted on the Construct website for attendees to download and read. At the end of the article, there's a list of questions that you're going to discuss with exhibitors of your choice. So this is, again, highly interactive. There is 1 document specific for Wednesday and a second specific for Thursday. So we invite you and really encourage you to check out constructshow.com to learn about the different education events and get more information specifically about some of those new programs. The normal education program is changing as well. There are some new game changer sessions that are going to look at surprising changes transforming the industry. And CSI has also moved leadership training so that it qualifies for CEUs into the main education schedule to really support our volunteer leaders. And Joy, I believe a lot of those programs are going to be done by you and Matt, correct?
Yes, they are. You will see us both presenting, and we'll be talking a lot about how to improve your education. If you're a CSI leader, the education you are sharing with the public, because that's where CSI's focus is this year for leadership.
Great. And there are also some more new CSI events. So again, if you haven't really checked out the website, you can see something called CSI's annual convention on the Construct Show site that shows you all of the new events CSI is planning this year, and there are a lot of them. So go ahead and book your schedules now. Some of the highlights are a celebration of fellows, a new young professionals mixer, a product representatives appreciation event, and of course the one I'm really looking forward to is CSI Night Out, which is a big blowout party Thursday after the show. We're going to go to Power Plant Live. We're taking over both a beer garden and a sports bar. There's going to be food, drinks, dancing. A lot of corporate partners have come together to sponsor this event, and it's going to be such a fun time. And for those of you who then are really into working out, you can join me the next morning at 6:15 for the CSI Fun Run, which Stacy made me do. So on Thursday, there's definitely the big party, and on Friday, I have to run 3 miles.
But you'll be running with other CSI members, won't you?
I might be cheering. Cherie Schachter said she would do pom-poms with me, and we can walk and then slowly make our way back to the finish line. But we definitely...
I am posting photos from that. There is no doubt. Yes.
But we do invite everyone to come. It's a really fun networking opportunity, whether it's a fun run or if you join me for maybe a fun walk because we're not as in shape as we should be. Again, CSI events going on all week, which you should not only attend, but also talk about. So I'm going to be acting again as CSI's social correspondent throughout the week. I'll be tweeting from both the @CSIConstruction handle as well as my personal handle @CaitlinSolomon3. And we have a lot scheduled for online participants, and it actually begins next week. Next week, we're going to be starting a lot of our official pre-show buzz. People have been talking about Construct, of course, since it ended in Nashville last September, which we love the continuous conversation all year round. It's been fantastic. But we're really going to start the official pre-show buzz for Baltimore starting next Thursday. And I hope everyone joins us online as we do a pre-show tweet chat. It's going to be using the hashtag Construct, and we'll be at 3 p.m. Eastern. There are easy ways to get involved. You can either go to tweetchat.com with that hashtag, or you can simply type in that hashtag in the search bar on Twitter and follow along the results. We'll be asking show expectations, what you're excited for, show best practices, such as wear comfortable shoes. But it's another great way to really start interacting with the social media community that you might not already be connected with that are all planning to attend the show. So again, that's Thursday, August 28th, 3 p.m. Eastern. Join the conversation using hashtag Construct. And I'll be leading that using both, again, my handle and the handle at CSIConstruction. Now we're going to be challenging all of you on this call, or who will be listening to a recording later, to take place in an education teaser, September 2nd through the 5th. If you are presenting at Construct, that means you should have your slides done. And we encourage you to post a teaser slide. Give us a hint of what you'll be talking about, what we can expect, and get us excited to attend your education session, and of course, tweet from your education session. If you're just going as an attendee and might not be speaking this year, highlight a session you're attending and say why you're excited about it. What made you choose that? Why are you interested in that speaker? And again, really get people talking about a huge component of the show, which is the education programming. And again, the hashtags to use are Construct and whatever the session number is. And I saw one of Joy's tweets earlier that she says twecklers are invited, especially at her presentation. So really get involved. And then Joy had a brand new idea, if she wants to talk about it, which isn't on the slide, that's going to be promoted in next week's weekly. Joy, what else are we doing that week?
Well, we have some of our speakers with us, so I thought I'd tell them that here's what I want to see next week. In addition to a slide from your presentation, I would love it if you tweeted a selfie of yourself holding a piece of paper or some sort of indication saying, ask me about whatever it is you're going to be talking about. So in the case of our good friends Charisse and Eric, who I believe are going to be at the bloggers panel, they might hold up a piece of paper that says, ask me about blogging. But we'd like all of our speakers to try to do this, and we're also going to ask some of our CSI leaders who are going to be on hand to talk about different aspects of CSI to tweet a selfie holding a piece of paper that says, ask me about, and whatever their topic is. Now, for the 3 people left in the United States who don't know what a selfie is, that is a photo of you. You don't have to take it yourself. You can hand the phone to a friend and have them take it. It is called a selfie because it is a picture of yourself that you posted.
All right, so again, September 2nd through 5th. Post your teaser slide, highlight a session that you're attending and why you're excited about it. And if people should talk to you at Construct, tell them why. Take a selfie of ask me about blank. And Joy, I imagine you need to take about 50 selfies because you're always so popular at the show with all of your wonderful CSI knowledge. So
I'm trying to figure out how I can pose with a dog for the selfie. That's the problem I'm working on right now. We'll see how that goes.
So everyone going to Construct, ask Joy about beagles. So aside from pre-show, once you're at the show, we do have specific events for the CSI's online community, including, count them, 2 tweet-ups this year. The first one is going to happen on Wednesday, September 10th. Consensus Docs is hosting a CSI tweet-up at their booth. Again, it's booth 1052 from 1:30 to 2. Their handle, if you want to go ahead and connect with them on Twitter, is at Consensus Docs. And they're going to be connecting with CSI's online community, as well as showing you a little demonstration about their product. Consensus Docs got really excited about our online community when they did their member-exclusive webinar and realized how much we talk about things. So be sure to take 30 minutes on Wednesday to head to their booth and really come to this CSI social event. You can see the hashtag there is both the hashtag is Construct and CSI Social. On Thursday, September 11th, we're having our official CSI tweet up where we're calling all members active on Twitter to head to the booth. CSI's booth this year is 841. It's going to be at 2:30 p.m. And as you can see from the picture, if you were there online, this is always when our booth explodes. We have so many people that join because they really want to see their online connections in real life. And we're pretty much the happening place at the exhibit hall that day. So using hashtag CSI Social, head on over at 2:30. We're going to be going from 2:30 until 4, so don't worry if you might have to do a shift at your booth or if you have a meeting with someone. We're there for a while. But we'd love for you to come meet us in person so we can see what those avatars look like in real life and if you still look like you. And last year, Eric brought food, so I'm hoping he brings more candy from Vermont. That is much appreciated. Feel free to do that again. Joy, do you have any tidbits you'd like to give about the official tweet up? I know you'll be there.
Yes, I plan to be there, and I am really looking forward to walking around, shaking hands with people, seeing the Lori Green in person, and having that pleasant conversation about how you look skinnier in your pictures online. Yes.
And we also, you get extra credit if you bring a Twitter newbie or if you bring someone to sign up. I know we signed up Nina at last year's Construct, and when she came to the booth, she won a prize. So we do like giveaways. If you haven't noticed, I like to give out free CSI stuff. So there's always surprises, fun things, giveaways happening at the booth that day. But again, if you could convince someone to join Twitter, I know Charisse got Greg Markling online, even though I think he only has one tweet. I'm still working on him. Bring them to meet the online community so they can realize that these are real people and we're not robots. On Wednesday, after the general session, you should head to room 306 to take part and participate in the CSI's bloggers panel. We have two sponsors this year, Allegiant and Knopf Insulation, which means there's free food, so everyone should want to go. But aside from the refreshments, you should want to go because it's going to be an amazing panel discussion with great bloggers. Eric Lucier has volunteered to be our moderator this year if I give him Reese Pieces, and Eric, they're already packed. Get excited. And he's leading a wonderful panel of Lori Green, Marvin Kemp, Sharice Schachter, David Stutzman, and we even got Sheldon Wolf on board this year, which I'm very excited about. All of these panelists represent different reasons for blogging, whether it's for a chapter, their personal brand, their company, or as a thought leader in the industry. They're at various experience levels. Some have been tweeting for a very long time. Some, like Charisse, just started her blog this year. So it's a great way to hear from a variety of perspectives on how to get started, best practices, tips on content, and how really to be a thought leader in the industry. Blogging has been huge lately and it's always going to get bigger. So whether or not you're experienced and you just want some tips on improvement, or if you're thinking about doing a blog but you've never done it, be sure to join us on Wednesday. It's going to be amazing. And on Wednesday, we're also going to be very excited. The Construction Specifier magazine will be awarding Lori Green the Article of the Year award at this panel. So if you want to support Lori, be sure to show up. That will happen at the end of the panel, and we're very excited for her to win this award. And of course, the number one reason you should follow us online throughout this entire week is because of the contest, the giveaways, or the opportunities that are only going to be available to you following us online, such as the General Session Surprise. I have again this year 5 reserved seats, front row, for the General Session that are going to happen for tweeters only. So sometime during that week, you should start following me and at CSIConstruction because there will be a contest, a prompt, some sort of activity that the first 5 people who complete it get front row seats for the general session. This year's speaker is supposed to be amazing. And again, as always, you also have to promise to take notes on Twitter during the session. Again, we're going to keep doing our Spot CSI event, and that's taking our logo to Baltimore. Whether or not you have a CSI t-shirt, a sweatshirt, a sticker, a ribbon, take pictures of it and yourself around various locations in Baltimore, whether or not it's the Inner Harbor, Camden Yards. I know the Star Spangled Spectacular is going on that week, so if you're seeing any historical things around the city, or my personal favorite, anywhere you get crab legs. But wherever you are, take a picture of the logo, with or without yourself, and post it online using hashtag SpotCSI. We're trying to get this happening at all of our in-person events, so it'd be great if you contribute to that. Again, last year we had over 2 million impressions, which was huge, but I'm an overachiever, so I have bigger goals in mind. There's going to be a giant giveaway if Construct trends at any point during the week. So I won't tell you that is yet because that would ruin the surprise, but I have it packed just in case. So be sure to really convince all of your friends, those who might not be on today's webinar, but anyone attending that if they're talking about the show, they need to include the hashtag. And of course, follow CSI Construction for daily social events, whether or not it's a giveaway, something you want to know, a booth highlight. I will be talking, Joy will be talking, we'll be very active on various channels all week long, so we invite you to interact with us. Joy, any contest you're doing that I don't know about yet?
No, because you're in charge of the membership swag bag, so you get to decide what contests we do.
And I have now taken over 3 cubicles in our office with the brand new branding items that got in. So if you want new fun swag, talk online. That is my subtle bribe for the day. So at this time, if anyone online has any questions, Joy and I would love to go over them with you. Again, we're also going to be online on Twitter if you'd rather just tweet a question for everyone in the universe. CSI's national account is at CSIConstruction. And again, my personal handle is at Kailin Solomon 3. So Joy, do we have any questions coming in from Twitter?
I don't think we do, but I think I have a good idea of who our Twecklers are going to be this year.
Oh, already? Anyone I should be worried about?
Well, unsurprisingly, I think we will be hearing a lot from Eric and Charisse. And Jenny has joined us this year, and she has learned their bad habits. So I think, yes, we will have a Tweckle-rific time.
All right, and there is a question about Jenny on whether or not you can include hashtags on education slides. Jenny, I will be talking to the Hanleywood rep Cindy about that and get back to you to make sure that we are in full disclosure of everything that you're doing as a speaker. But definitely, if you are attending a session, make sure you include it in all of your tweets and all of your notes that you take. But Jenny, I will get back to you.
Yeah, Jenny, in the past, we have always put pound construct and then pound the session number, and that's what I assume we're doing again this year. I would be surprised if we weren't, Caitlin, honestly.
But we'll find out for sure. All right. Well, I know a lot of the people joining us online are already on our social media radar or have already been involved in our community for a while, so I don't see any more questions showing up on my end. Are there any ones on Twitter that we have not yet got to?
I don't believe so.
All right. Well, it is a Friday afternoon, so we don't want to hold you too long. I'm sure you have plenty of work still left to do before the weekend. So that's just a quick run through of how to use social media at Construct and some of the special social media events CSI plans to put on at the show. Again, we want to thank the sponsor for this webinar, Consensus Docs. Be sure to visit them at booth 1052, as well as Wednesday as they host the first CSI social tweet chat. And if you have any questions, feel free to not only tweet either Joy or myself, but you can also email me something specific, such as the question Jenny just had. My email is ksolomon@csinet.org. And if you haven't connected with CSI on our social channels, be sure to do so. We have an amazing online community. We want you to be a part of it. We're always looking for more people to join and get involved on this level. And as always, any CSI event you do, connecting online is just going to enhance that experience, and we look forward to you sharing what you know at Construct. And Joy, with that, if you have any last words, we'll sign off and let these people enjoy their weekend.
No, enjoy the weekend, guys. We look forward to seeing you in Baltimore.
The countdown has begun. We'll see you in September.